Hey there, my name's Dave and welcome to another Guitars Ready Hero song tutorial. In this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to play The Chain by Fleetwood Mac, which is such an awesome song. You just naturally feel so cool when you're playing this tune on the guitar. This is going to be a super in-depth lesson. I'm going to teach you my personal arrangement for it, fingerpicked of course. I'm going to teach you a few different ways that Lindsey Buckingham actually plays the verse in live performances. I'll teach you the lead guitar solo at the end of the song, and I'll also teach a super simple strummed version for the beginners out there who just want a simple way of strumming and singing along to this song. Now in the studio recording, this song requires you to get into double drop D tuning, meaning that you need to detune both the low E string and the high E string down to a D. But for my arrangement, I don't think that's really necessary. Let's quickly take a look at the tuning basics. We'll need to get into drop D first. So take your low E string from E down to E flat, then down again to a D note. Once you have that low E detuned to a D, just check all your other strings are in tune, and then we'll grab a capo and place it on the second fret of our guitar. Let's dive into my studio arrangement of how to play this song. If you're a beginner and you want some basic chords to strum and sing along, go to the second half of this video where I teach that. In the studio recording, there's a dobro and an electric guitar being played, but I've combined those two elements together into one guitar arrangement here, which I think sounds great. For our fingerpicking basics, your thumb will take care of the 6th, 5th, and 4th strings, and your index, middle, and ring finger will take care of the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st strings respectively. Ideally, they won't pluck any other strings other than the ones they've been assigned to. Okay, we're going to start off in this D7 sus2 position. So middle finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, index on the 1st fret of the 2nd string. Let's break this first bar up into a few sections. So for the first section, there's 4 notes. So open 6th, 3rd, 4th, and then 2nd string. All right, so that's plucked at 16th notes. 1, E, and R. All right, for the next section, we're going to start off the same way. So open 6th, 3rd string, and then we're going to pinch the 4th and 1st string together. All right, so 2, E, and R. And the first 2 sections together. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and So you can just play that and let it ring for the rest of the bar and at a faster speed. But what I actually like to do when I play this is trail that first bit with alternating thumb bass notes on the 6th string and 4th string, on the 3 and 4 end. By doing this, you're keeping a consistent pattern with your thumb, which is always bouncing between the 6th and 4th string on the downbeat and on the end beat. So 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. This is alternating thumb bass technique at its finest, and Lindsey Buckingham is really just a master at this. He uses a similar technique in Never Going Back Again. I have a lesson for that in the description below. By trailing that first bit with the alternating thumb bass, it actually helps you keep time as well. So that's why I like to play it. Now for the second bar, we start off the same way with the same 4 notes. For the next 3 plucks, we're going to go open 6th, 3rd, and then we're going to pinch the 4th and 2nd together. But as you pinch that, you're going to hammer your pinky finger into place onto the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. Little section, 2 E and And those first 2 sections together, without the trailing bass notes, 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and together with the trailing bass notes, which I personally like to play. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. The third bar is the same as the first bar. And for the 4th bar, we start off with the same section, the same 4 notes. So 6th, 3rd, 4th, 2nd. For the 2nd section, we're playing open 6th, 3rd, and pinching the 4th and 2nd together. Now for the 3rd section, we're going to pinch the open 6th and 2nd string and hammer our pinky onto that 3rd fret of the 2nd string. So those 3 sections together without the trailing bass notes, 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E But if we add the trailing bass notes, we're going to go 4th string and then 6th and then 4th after that 3rd section. So it sounds like this. 1, yenda, 2, yenda, 3, yenda, 4, yenda. All right, so the first line of tab in total. Now I'm going to add the trailing bass notes that you do see in the tab, but you do not need to play them if you don't want to. And that's why I've got those notes in brackets, because they are optional. Now, if your finger picking does feel a bit inconsistent and clunky, then I've got a free mini course called Fingerpicking Foundations, which gives you 3 amazing musical exercises to improve the picking on your picking hand. I'll leave a link to it in the description below. Moving on to the second line of tab. This 5th bar is the same as the 4th bar. Moving on to the 6th bar, there's one minor change here, and this just occurs on the end beat after the 2. So for this second little section, we're going to go open 6th, 3rd string, and then pinch the open 4th and 1st string instead of the 4th and 2nd. But everything else is the same as the previous bar. So 7th bar is the same as the 5th bar. Now, for this final bar, we'll reposition our fingers into a D5 position. So just index on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, ring on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. We're going to start with the open 6th string. Now, we've got a really cool lick here. It starts on the 3rd fret of the 4th string with your ring finger. Now, to pluck this, what Lindsey Buckingham does is he actually flicks it with his index finger. So you're using the nail of your index finger to flick down. So we're going to hit that note, the 2nd fret, and then back into our D5 position. All right. Then with your middle finger, 3rd fret of the 5th string. That moves to the 3rd fret of the 6th string where we pluck that again. And you're going to do a slight bend. All right. So as you hit it, bend it or release it, and that 5-note run. And then we're going to go back to our D5, and you're going to just strum this whole chord and then quickly mute it after you've strummed it. And together with the opening bass note. In the second line of tab in total. That's it for the intro, which sounds like this at a couple of different speeds. Now I'm going to play this along with the metronome at double time, so there's more clicks to lock into. Next, we move on to the verse. I'm going to teach you a few different ways of playing this. The first method I'm going to teach you is the way I particularly like to play this when I'm playing along with the studio recording. The other methods will be how I see Lindsay playing it in various live performances. So we have 2 lines of tab here. We're going to start in our D5 position like this. Now for our first little section, it's 4 notes. We're going to go 6th, 3rd, 4th, 2nd. For the second little chunk, you're going to take your free middle finger, fret the 3rd fret of the 5th string. We're going to pluck that. As you hit it, you'll slightly bend it down and pull it off. Now that pull off will be at the same time as you pluck the next note, which is the 3rd string. So try to time those so that they're at the same point where you bend it down and then pull off and pluck the 3rd string at the same time. Now that pull off isn't necessary. If you want, you can just hit that 3rd fret, bend down, and then pluck the 3rd string. But if you can get that pull off in, it does sound really cool. So after that 3rd string pluck, we're then going to pinch the 4th and 2nd string together. So the second little chunk and together with the first chunk. And then we're going to trail this with some alternating bass notes on the open 6th and 4th string on the 3 and 4 and beat. So the first bar in total, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. For the second bar, we'll go into this position where we'll take our ring finger, we'll put that on the 5th fret of the 6th string, and index finger will go onto the 3rd fret of the 1st string. We're going to pluck 6th, 3rd, 4th, and then 1st. For the second little section, we're going to go 6th, 3rd. At this point, you can lift your index finger. Your pinky finger will come onto the 6th fret of the 2nd string. We're going to pinch the 4th and 2nd. All right, so the second little chunk and together with the first little section. And then we're going to trail with some alternating bass notes, so 6th, 4th, 6th, 4th. So the second bar in total. For the next bar, we're going to go up to this position, so 10th fret relative to the capo, which is smack bang on 12th fret of your guitar if we're ignoring the capo. Middle and ring fingers go onto the 10th frets relative to the capo on the 6th and 2nd string, and your index finger on the 9th fret of the 3rd string, right? So for our first little section, it's the 6th, 3rd, 4th, 2nd. And for the next little section, 6th, 3rd, 4th. All right, so 1, yenda, 2, yenda. Then we shift this shape down 2 frets, and you can lift your index finger at this point, so it's just 8th frets of the 6th and 2nd string. Pinch the 6th and 2nd strings, hold that out for 8th note, and then we're going to pluck 4th and 3rd. All right, so 3 yenda. Then you'll shift your middle finger down to the 3rd fret. You'll pluck it once, another time where you'll actually bend it, and then open 6th string. So 4 E and da. And the second half of this bar. And the bar in total. And the 4th bar is the same as the first bar, so we go back to our D5 position. So that's the first line of tab in total, which sounds like this altogether. 1 yenda, 2 yenda, 3 yenda, 4 yenda. Now the second line of tab is basically identical, except the 4th bar in the second line of tab differs, and it's basically the same as the final bar of our intro where we play that cool lick where we're flicking with our index finger. So that just replaces the 4th bar. And the second line of tab in total. And at a couple different speeds with a metronome, this is what verse 1 is going to sound like. So that's it for the verse. Now you can skip to the chorus if you want, but I'm just going to quickly talk about a couple of different ways or variations that I've seen Lindsey Buckingham actually play this live. So for this next method, this is loosely how he plays it in this live interview that I found online. You can check out that link in the description below. So awesome to see him play it. It's similar to what I've already taught you, but there are a couple of changes. So the first bar is the same. For our next bar, we're getting to this position where we're going to actually bar our index finger across the 3rd frets of the 1st and 2nd string. Let's break this bar up into 4 smaller sections. So for the first section, it's 6th, 3rd, 4th, 1st. Then the next section is 6th, 3rd, 4th, 3rd. And putting that together. For the 3rd little chunk, it's 6th, 3rd, 4th, 2nd. Instead of 1st. And then the 4th little chunk is the same as the 2nd little chunk. 6th, 3rd, 4th, 3rd. So the second half. And the bar in total. Then what he does is he goes to a C chord. Again, let's break this bar up into 4 smaller sections. So we'll start off with 5th, 3rd, 4th, 1st. And then 5th, 3rd, 4th, 2nd. So that will sound like this. And then what he does is he takes his ring finger, goes to the 3rd fret, plucks it, and slides up to the 5th. And then plucks 4th and open 3rd string. And for the 4th little section, we go back to the 3rd fret, pluck it again, and do a slight bend. And then open 6th string. So in the second half of this bar. And together. And the 4th bar is the same as the first bar. So that's where things kind of change from the first method that I taught you to this one. It's in the 2nd and the 3rd bars. But I'll play it all together. This is what verse 1 would sound like if we're loosely basing it off his acoustic performance. Alright, so the next way to play this verse is loosely based off how he plays it on the electric guitar, and this is loosely based off a performance I found online. Again, where most of the changes occur are in the second and third bars of music. So the first bar of music, we're going to keep this exactly the same. Now when we goes to the 5th fret of the 6th string, he hits it and just holds it out for a full bar. So really nice and simple. And then for the 3rd bar, it goes to a C add 9 shape. So ring and middle fingers on the 3rd fret of the 5th and 2nd string. Pluck the 5th, 3rd, 2nd, 3rd at 8th notes. So 1 and 2, and then shift your index finger to the 1st fret of the 5th string. Pluck that, and then 4th and 3rd. And then we're going to play that 3-note run where it's middle finger to the 3rd fret of the 6th string, similar to our previous 2 methods. So the 3rd bar. And for the 4th bar, we are not trailing with too many bass notes at the end. It's just that first half. So that's sort of the 3rd method. I'll just play through the first line of tab. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's move on to the chorus. This is fairly simple. There's just 2 lines of tab here. We're going to start with a G-shaped power chord. In drop D tuning, that means we really just need to put our ring, or you can use your index finger and bar across the 5th fret relative to the capo on the 6th, 5th and 4th string. So you can do that with your ring or your index. I like using my ring. Now what you also want to do is just make sure the 3rd, 2nd and 1st strings are muted. And that way when you strum, it's only that power chord that's ringing out. Now we're going to strum this with a down, down, up 4 times. So the rhythmic direction is down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. But you only want to push down your fretting hand on the down beats. So 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. So just momentarily push, release, and so you get the mutes. But remember the rhythmic direction is just down, down, up. So 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Play that for 2 bars. And then we go to a D chord, so D5. So just keep your 1st string muted there. And we're going to keep that same rhythmic direction, but there's no muting here anymore. So 2 of the short strumming patterns here. Down, 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 down. Then to a B flat 5 power chord, so index on the 1st fret of the 5th string, ring and pinky on the 3rd frets of the 4th and 3rd string. It's important to keep your 6th string muted and the 1st and 2nd string muted. We just want the power chord ringing out. Now you can mute the 1st and 2nd strings by lightly touching it with your index finger as it's fretting that 1st fret of the 5th string. And have your index finger lightly touching the bottom of the 6th string as well, and that will effectively mute that 6th string. 2 of the short strumming patterns here. And then we shift this up 2 frets to a C5 power chord shape. And this is going to be played for a full bar. That's it for the chorus, which sounds like this. Okay, next there's a break section, which is kind of similar to the intro, but it's just 4 bars of music. So for this first bar, we go into this D7 sus2 shape. We're going to pluck open 6th, 3rd, 4th, 2nd, just the same way as we always start our picking patterns. For this next section, you'll take your ring finger, hit the 3rd fret of the 6th string, and do a slight bend. And if you can, pull off after it, and as you pull off, pluck the 3rd string. Pull off isn't necessary, you can just hit it and then just go to the 3rd string if you want to, but pulling off at the same time as that 3rd string sounds awesome. And then after that, it's a pinch of the 4th and 2nd strings. So the 2nd little chunk, and together. And then you can play those trailing bass notes if you want to, or you can just hold it out for the rest of the bar, which is what's in the studio recording. The second bar is the same as the second bar in the intro, so we have learned that previously. And you can add the trailing bass notes if you want. I'm going to leave them out in the playthrough for these first two bars. The third bar is the same as the third bar in the intro. And I'm going to add the trailing bass notes. And then the fourth bar is the same as the final bar in the intro. Okay, so the break is effectively going to sound like this. 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 and. Next is verse number 2. Now verse number 2 is the same as verse 1, except the first line of tab is just played through twice. That's the only difference. There's chorus number 2. Now chorus number 2 is the same as chorus 1, but the progression is played through 3 times and not twice. Then we get to the break, which is just before the outro and solo section. There's 2 lines of tab here. So we're going to start with a D sus2. So it's the same as a D, but we lift our middle finger. And we're going to strum that. Now in the 4 beat, we slightly change this chord shape by putting our middle finger on the 3rd fret of the 3rd string. Right. Now the timing here moves to double time, so we're counting 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, and into the next bar, 1, and then we're going to pluck some notes. We're going to go 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 1st, 2nd, 3rd. Right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, and 4. The 3rd and the 4th bar is basically the same, except we're not plucking those notes at the end. So 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4. For the second line of tab, our first 2 bars are the same as the first line of tab. When we get to the 3rd bar, we just hit the D sus2, hold it out for a full bar, and on the next bar, we're going to go to that altered shape and pluck 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 1st, 2nd, and then back to our D sus2 and lightly strike the 4th and 3rd strings. So from the 3rd bar, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this second break in total, just before the solo, will sound like this. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 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 2, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 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 1. Alright, the next part I'm going to teach you is the bass lick, which sounds so cool. What a bass lick. It's just so iconic. There's 4 bars of music for this bass lick that we can play on the acoustic guitar. So we're going to start on the 5th fret of the 6th string. We're going to hit this and hold it until the 4 beat. So 1 and 2 and 3 and then we have a 3-note run here, which is 5th, 7th and 8th. Alright, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and... On the next 2 beat, there's going to be a 5-note run, where we go 7th, 5th, 3rd, 5th, and then back up to 7th. All right, so that 5-note run. And then finally on the next bar, we hit the open 6th string, all right? And that's held out for the next 2 bars. So the riff in total, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And rhythmically, you can just play that until the end of the song if you want to. But now I'm going to switch over to the electric guitar and show you how to play the solo. Let's play the solo. Now we just need our electric guitar in standard tuning, no capo required. In terms of tone, I've just got a lead amp channel which has some high gain and I've added reverb and I've also added delay, but I have not included delay here in this explanation portion. of the video. I'll add it in when I do the full playthrough. So for our first line of tab, it's actually pretty simple. We just need our ring finger on the 5th fret of the 2nd string, and we're going to play double stops here, meaning we're going to hit 2 strings at the same time. The 2nd and 1st string, we're going to play that at 8th notes. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Now this is going to build up those. So you start off really quiet and you build up. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Like that. That's it for the first line of tab. For the second line of tab, we're staying in this position, but we're playing this in a more rhythmic manner. And it's going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... So try to get that sort of rhythm in your head. Da, 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 because that is played twice. And then we're going to take this all the way up to the 17th fret. So slide up to the 17th fret, and we're going to continue playing this position at double stops for 4 bars. For the next line of tab, I move my ring finger up to the 20th fret and then back down to 17th fret with my index finger. So on the first beat, it's up to 20th, and then everything else is 17th fret. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... For the next bar, it's almost the same, except on the end beat after the 2, we are taking our middle finger and putting on the 19th fret of the 2nd string. And we're going to hit the 3rd and 2nd strings. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a bit faster. Now for the 3rd bar, we start off at the 20th fret, down to 17th twice. On the end beat after the 2, it's back up to 20th. So 1 and 2 and 3 and back up to 20th on the 4 beat. And then 17th. So it's the 1, the end beat after the 2, and the 4 beat where we're going up to 20th. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... For the 4th bar, we'll go 20th fret. On the next pluck, we'll go down to 17th fret position with our ring finger and pluck this 3 times. So 1 and 2 and 3. On the end beat after the 3, 15th fret of the 1st string, then 17th, and then you're going to pluck this and bend up. So the final bar here. And that's it for this line of tab, which sounds like this in total. Alright, so for this next line of tab, we are going to pick it back up on the 2 beat and play another bend. And on the 3 beat, we're then going to start playing triplets. Now triplets, it's basically groups of 3 notes. So, and I pluck this with upstrokes. So groups of 3 notes. So that's a triplet, and continue that again and again for basically the rest of this line of tab. So for each bar, there's 2 groups of triplets. So one bar would sound like this. And this whole time, it does get a bit tiresome on the fingers because you basically have to keep bending this string the whole way through. Now, one tip when you're bending is that you do absolutely want to incorporate your middle finger in there as well to help bend that string. Otherwise, just bending with your ring finger, you're not going to get much stamina and strength there. So bend with your ring and middle finger together and give it a little bit of vibrato as well as you... It will shred your hand up a little bit, so it even tires me out. So, but just keep at it and you should be able to get it. So from the last few notes of the previous line of tab, and then for the next line of tab, we're going to do another bend and then release 17th, go to 15th, bend, and then release, pluck the 15th fret and pull off to 12th. So this first bar. Then your ring finger will come to the 15th fret of the 2nd string. Keep your index finger where it is on the 12th. We're gonna do another double stop here, but bend the second string up a full tone. And then on the 2 beat, hit that 15th fret of the second string again and bend. And then pluck the 15th fret, pull off to 12th, back to 15th, and then up to 12th. So the second half of this bar, and the bar in total. And the third bar, we're gonna do 3 of those double stop bends. And on the NB after the 4, pinky finger on the 15th fret of the first string. Right, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and with your ring finger already here, we're going to hit these 2 notes and bend the second string and play more triplets here. So, and again, it's just continuous bending with triplets. So this line of tab. The next line of tab is basically those bends again and again for 3.5 bars. So. Then we end with 14th fret of the 4th string, 12th fret of the 3rd, and then 14th fret. So the next line of tab, we stay on the 14th fret of the 3rd string, hit it on the beat, 1 and 2 and 3 and on the 4 end, it's 14th fret, 12. Alright, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and this next lick, it's 14th, and then bar your index finger across the 12th fret, so 2nd string, 3rd string, and then end on 14th fret of the 4th string. So this first half of the second bar. And to end it, 12th fret, 14th and 12th on the end 4 end beat. So the bar in total. For the next bar, pinky up at the 15th fret of the 2nd string, then 14th the 3rd string, bar your index finger across the 12th frets, 2nd, 3rd, and then 14th fret of the 3rd string, 14th fret of the 4th, up to 12th, and back to 14th fret of the 4th. So. Then we're going to go here, 8th fret of the 2nd string, do double stop where we're hitting the open 1st string with it 3 times, and then down to the 5th fret. Hold that, and then 3 notes, 5th fret, 8th fret, and 5th fret of the 1st string. Alright, so this bar. And that's it for this line of tab, which goes like this. And then the rest of the solo is just this 5th fret position, double stop, until the end of the song, more or less. So that's pretty much it for the solo. The hardest part really is getting those bends and hitting them in time and consistently with the right bend pitch. So I'm gonna play it slowly and the solo will sound like this. beginners out there, if fingerpicking is too difficult for you, this is a super simple way of strumming the song if you just wanted to strum and sing along to this tune. For this super simple beginner version, we don't need to go into drop D tuning. So just go in standard tuning and then place a capo on the 2nd fret of your guitar. And by the way, if you want more easy wins like this, I've put together a free guide of 10 legendary songs you can play using 3 chords or less. You can grab that in the link in the description. So for this super simple version, we're going to start with the intro, and there's just 2 chords we have here. Our first chord is a D7 sus2, so middle finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, index on the 1st fret of the 2nd string. Now you can strum sort of from the 5th string onwards, so technically this is a D7 sus2 over A, but let's just call it D7 sus2. And then we're going to go to a D5. So take your ring finger, put it on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, and you can strum the middle 4 strings, so the 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd string. Your 1st string should be muted. So technically this is a D5 over A, but let's just call it a D5. Now the strumming pattern is going to go like this. Down, down, up, down, up, down, 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 up. And we're changing to the D5 on the end beat after the 2. So 1 E and 2 E and 3 and 4 E and. I'll play those 2 chords through twice in a loop so you can hear how it sounds. Now the 8th time you play it, we are altering it a little bit. On the 3 beat, we're strumming that D5 once and then dropping your hand onto the strings so nothing rings out. So the 8th time. So that's it for the intro. Next we get to verse 1. So the first bar is the same as the intro. So that D7 sus2 to the D5. For the 2nd bar, we're going to go to a G chord. And we'll just maintain the same strumming pattern that we had for the D7 sus2 to the D5. But there's no changes here. That whole strumming pattern is played for this G. For the 2nd line of tab, we'll go to a C chord and then a B flat 5 power chord. Now for the B flat 5 power chord, index finger goes on the 1st fret of the 5th string. Now you want it lightly touching the bottom of the 6th string as well, so that 6th string is not ringing out when you strum this chord. The 2nd and 1st strings also need to be muted from this. So have your index finger lightly making contact with those strings below the 5th string. You don't need to fret it down, you're only applying pressure to that 5th string. And then ring and pinky go on the 3rd frets of the 4th and 3rd string. So that's our B flat 5. Now those 2 chords are each played with a down, 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 up strumming pattern. So and then the 4th bar is the same as the 1st bar, that D7 sus2 to the D5. Altogether, the verse chord progression will sound like this. For the 1st verse, that's played through twice. For the 2nd verse, it's played through 3 times. Next, we get to the chorus. Now for the chorus, we have our G chord. The strumming pattern is just down, down, up, played through 4 times. So down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. But on the beat, on the 1, 2, and 3 beat, that is when we're going to actually fret down the G chord. And then for the quick down, up, that's where you lift your fretting hand and just make contact with the strings so you get a muted sound. So down, down, up. And we do that 4 times. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. For the 3rd bar, we go to a D5. And we're going to play this with 2 of those short patterns, but there's no muting here. So it's down, 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 down. We switch to the B flat 5 on the 3 beat with 2 of those short patterns. And then a C for a full bar. So that's it for the chorus, which will sound like this. So for the first chorus, that chord progression is played through twice. For the second chorus, it's played through 3 times. After the second chorus, there's a second break. What we'll do is we'll play a D sus2, and then on the 4 beat here, it moves to double time. So we're counting in 8th notes here. On the 4 beat, we'll go and take our middle finger and put it on the 3rd fret of the 3rd string. So this is a D sus2 flat 6. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that's played through 3 times. And for the second line of chords, we're gonna strum our D sus2 and just hold it out for 4 bars of music. For the outro, we just have 3 chords on a loop. So G, and then our B flat 5, and our D5. So the first 2 times we play this progression, we're just strumming each chord and holding it out. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and. The third time when we get to our D5, this is when we build it up with the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4. And then from that point onwards, it's just a continuous down up strumming pattern for each chord. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can just play that until the end of the song. That's the simplest way of playing the song if you just want to strum and sing along. You can see a full playthrough of this version at the end of this video. So now I'll be doing 2 playthroughs of this song. The first playthrough will be the studio version with the finger picking, and the second playthrough will be the easy strum version for the beginners out there. Again, if your finger picking is feeling a bit clunky and inconsistent, then be sure to check out my free mini course, Fingerpicking Foundations, with 3 amazing exercises to build confidence with your picking hand. I'll leave a link to it in the description below. A big thanks to my friend Eric for lending his awesome vocals to these playthroughs. Feel free to play these back as many times as you'd like to practice, play along to, and see how you go. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, then I know you'll absolutely love these other lessons here. Now, if fingerpicking still feels a bit clunky or inconsistent, then check out my free Fingerpicking Foundations mini course. It walks you through 3 beginner-friendly exercises to build control and confidence. You can grab that by clicking below. Thanks, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.